Greetings, everyone. This is Payman Lorenzo, your host, your friend, your coach. Today, I have another wonderful guest for us, my new dear friend, Mimi Bland from tropical, beautiful London, United Kingdom. And here she is. We connected about, what, 2, 3 weeks ago. We had a powerful chat,
Yeah,
connected through the one and only Stephen Gillen.
yeah,
And she does a lot of things. She's everywhere, especially on social media. She's very active and very popular. And she has over 111,000 followers on Instagram, over 55,000 on LinkedIn, and a lot of cool stuff. So she's, as I said, she's been a very busy bee. She's done 2 books, and now she's got 2 more in the queue. So 4 books in totals. She's been on TV. She has an app. She's done everything. She's even been on the dark side of the moon. Maybe that's next, but yeah. And what she does essentially, she works with high achievers and visionaries to help them live their full potential. And what that means in a more layman's term is that she helps these people recalibrate mentally and emotionally to help them achieve their dream lives and their dreams. So that's what she does, and we're going to unpack all of that in a moment. And I have a feeling that me and her, we're going to do more than one podcast episode because there's so much we can unpack that one episode wouldn't do it justice. So, anyways, without any further ado, Mimi, welcome to the show, my friend.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here to talk with you today. Yeah, very, very excited. So I think we can talk forever. So we'll try to really, yeah, be straight.
Absolutely. Pleasure's all mine. So we're going to talk about your business and all that in a moment. But tell us, first of all, for people who don't know you, who's Mimi, first of all, as a woman and as a human being?
Oh, I'm a lover of life. I love life. I really do. I have a mental age of 8 and I absolutely love it. Every single day I wake up and I'm really grateful and blessed to God for waking up to live this joyful life experience. I'm a mother of 2 amazing sons, 6 grandchildren now.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, they keep you very busy. But yeah, I love life and I just want to impart my knowledge and information to help other people to really understand themselves, but to also live a fantastic life while they're here.
Absolutely. Beautiful. We're going to unpack all of that. First of all, what I'd like to do is to ask you a series of rapid fire questions to further get to know you as a person. Ready?
Okay. Yeah, I'm ready. Be gentle with me.
Oh, absolutely. Don't worry. Uh, what makes you happy?
Oh, do you know what? The simple things make me really, really happy. I love nature. I could walk in nature every day. I love just like looking at the sky, just feeling the air, just watching the birds. It's silly little things. I love watching children play, even watching dogs like, just I just love being immersed in life. I think when you have a different perspective about life and you come from an attitude of gratitude, everything is magical. So making me happy as well. I love music. I love being with my grandchildren and my family. Yeah, they're the things that really lift my soul up, really.
Beautiful. What makes you smile?
What makes me smile? I love to see people happy. What makes me smile is I don't know, just I smile at lots of different things really, to be honest. Like being present in the moment. I love like it's the like I see everything really through a child's eyes. So everything to me is very simplistic. So lots of little things will make me smile. And sometimes my children say, "What are you laughing at? What are you smiling about?" But I find the fun in lots of different aspects of life. So there's lots of things that really make me smile, to be honest.
Beautiful. Now let's take the happiness factor a couple of notches higher. What makes your heart sing? What sets your soul on fire?
Oh, what really sets my soul on fire is when I'm in front or when I've met or when I'm in an environment where people have really lost connection to themselves and for me, that's when I come alive. Like, I just really want to lead, inspire, motivate, and empower them to really awaken to the truth of who they are, to remember who they are, and to really give them the foundations and the guidelines and the vision and the energy to see differently and to create some amazing lives, regardless of where they may be. If I've met a homeless person on the street, or if I'm working with someone
Mm,
who's a multi-billionaire, but he's completely broken, I come alive by making them feel alive. That's my passion in life.
beautiful, beautiful. Now, what makes you sad and angry?
I think. I don't really get a lot of sadness, if I'm honest, but what really makes my heart feel heavy is, if I'm allowed to say it that way, like all the conditioning of the world and every single thing that we've been programmed and hypnotized to believe that isn't our truth. When I look at the atrocities around the world of even like the war and some of these things that are going on, they're all man-made. People don't be disillusioned to think that a lot of things in the world are as they are. And the one thing that saddens me the most is watching, especially children, go through painful situations and sicknesses, because our bodies are created to heal themselves. They really are. So watching people subject themselves through fear and terror of the cancers and all these things in life, it really saddens me because we have, like I said, we've been conditioned and hypnotized to believe something that is just not true.
Absolutely. I'm completely with you. Now, what what scares you?
What scares me? Well, I'd have to say what used to scare me because I don't have much fear left in me anymore. I work on myself every day. So if I have a fear, like I used to have a fear of heights, like when I went away on holiday, I specifically booked to throw myself out of a plane basically to overcome that fear. So I don't want to have any fears because I know they're not real. Fear is just like an unrealistic thought that's going through your mind. I used to have a fear of, I suppose if I had a fear, but it's not really a fear, it's not reaching my full potential. It's not looking like when I'm on my deathbed, looking back and knowing that I've not wasted 1 second of my life
Mm,
living an experience that my soul didn't want to live, and that I was true to myself, and that I, regardless of how it turns out, that I lived my highest life purpose. I think that's my biggest thing that I would regret rather than fear.
absolutely. I'm completely with you. Absolutely. What would you say is your number one personal superpower?
My superpower is having an ability to hear. I have a very weird X-ray hearing, so that when someone's speaking, I can hear where they have completely shut themselves off from their real truth, their connection. And I have the ability to, I then get sort of like downloads where it shows me where the person has separated themselves and what they need to do to recalibrate themselves. So my superpower is really being with that person and energetically being able to help them free themselves, really.
Beautiful, beautiful. What is one thing that you used to value that you don't value anymore?
I think I used to really value stuff. Like I still value things because we're here to live a joyful life
Mhm.
experience and we're here to have as much as we want. But I think I used to really value how other people saw me and how their perception of me and what they thought about me. And I realize that's not important. It's how I see myself, it's how I value myself, and it's what I think about myself is where the true value comes. So yeah, that's really completely changed.
Beautiful. And inversely, what is one thing that you did not value before that now you're valuing more and more?
And myself, definitely. I used to really, if I'm honest, I really hated myself for so many years on a very severe level. And it's taken me years to really start loving myself. And I can still have moments because when we've been conditioned, those feelings, emotions, they're stuck in our energy system and our body. So sometimes I can still think, oh, like, the programming that I was told every day that I was dirty and disgusting, it can still be there, and I have to override it and remind myself that I was created by the creator and he doesn't make mistakes. So yeah, I have to keep bringing myself back to
Absolutely.
him.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing this. Now, you enjoy traveling, don't you?
I love traveling. Yeah, love it.
We can do not just an entire episode, but an entire podcast on traveling. But I'd like to take you down a different type of traveling, down memory line.
Okay.
Back to when you were growing up as a kid. People around us, family, friends, relatives, teachers, neighbors always ask us, "Hey, Mimi, what do you want to become when you grow up?" What's the answer to that as a little girl?
It was crazy because I always wanted to be an air stewardess to begin with.
Oh, okay.
Because, and I realized that was because I love traveling. Always wanted to be a mother from the
Okay.
moment I just wanted to be a mum. But again, another thing I always wanted was to be a nun as well. Always wanted to
Wow.
go to be a nun, to go into service, because I love solitude and I love that
Mhm.
whole communion. So there was, I understand why I wanted to do those things more now that I'm older. It all comes to the same sort of, mothering because I love mothering people as well, traveling because I love traveling, and nunnery because I love the spiritual side and I love the solitude and the oneness with the universe.
Beautiful. Did you grow up in a religious environment?
Yeah, but my parents were very churchgoers, and we used to have to go maybe I'd say 2 or 3 times a week. Plus, we used to go to back to sort of what is it, Sunday school every weekend. So yeah, it was very religious home.
Cool. Growing up, what was your relationship with school? Did you love or hate school?
Um, I liked school, but to be honest, I never used to fit in. I got bullied terribly at school
Oh,
because I was very quiet. I wasn't allowed to wear makeup. My hair, my mother used to put in plaits every day and full, very strict uniform. And the school I used to be in, they were very quite a little bit wild and crazy. So I didn't really fit in. So I used to get bullied a lot at school, to be honest.
sorry to hear that. So, and in school, what was your favorite and least favorite subjects?
Oh, I love sports. I was such a tomboy at school. I used to do the long jump, the high
Oh,
jump, football. I love football. I used to play
wow.
football, netball, but football was really probably one of my greatest ones. I love football. The least I said I couldn't stand geography and biology and any of those sort of things. I like things that were like freeing. I love painting and I love creative things as well. But yeah, anything to do with maths or anything that wasn't really my forte.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that you're a creative soul. I can see that.
Yes.
Awesome. So imagine that we were in the same class, say around grade 10 or 11. What kind of student, what kind of girl were you back then? Were you the shy one, the quiet one, the nerdy one, the life of the party, the superstar? Who were you back then?
No, I was very quiet, I would say nerdy, but I was very quiet and very reserved. So I used to keep myself very internally based, if you understand what I mean. I wasn't a loud person. I'd never interact with anybody that was, there was a lot of what I'd call like the A girls, and they were the hotties of the class. And then there was me that was very dowdy, no makeup, little pigtails and, plaits. So I didn't really fit in that way. So I really became more, went into the background so people didn't notice me as much.
Okay. And when you were in school, were you popular with the boys?
Definitely not. No, no. I was literally like, I was like a little, that didn't happen till later on. And then that completely changed. But no, at school, I was very dowdy. So I don't think anyone give me a second look at school. No.
Are you married?
No, I'm not married. No.
Okay. I was about to ask, how did you meet your husband, your ex-husband?
Oh, no, I'm divorced many, many years ago now. So,
No worries. So, what was your very first job? And do you remember how much you get paid the first time you worked?
oh, the very first job. Oh, yes, I do actually. I used to mark up newspapers in the
Oh,
sweet shop.
okay.
So I used to go in sort of like 4:30 in the morning, mark all the papers up, and then do paper rounds. And that was the very first job. I can't even remember how much I used to get paid. I know it wasn't much. And then from there, I moved on to working in the sweet shop, and I started then selling all the sweets. But I didn't last there long because I used to give all the children free sweets when they came in. So I
Oh,
used to
wow.
but yeah, again, not very much money at all. You're
Mm.
talking like literally
You
pennies.
remember what you did with your very first paycheck?
What did I used to, I think I used to give it to my parents actually to
Okay.
help out because my parents, everything was very tight and we lived on a very tight budget. My parents worked very hard, but I think we used to, like, whatever money we had, just used to contribute to things. And growing up then, like I said, I had a very innocent mind and I'd buy things like the Beano and the Dandy. I don't know if people remember those magazines, and then go and buy myself like, a chocolate cake or a little treat, 'cause that wasn't things that we used to have at home.
Beautiful, beautiful. Let's move forward. How would you describe your path from the moment you left school to now? Would you say it was once you're into one lane, you were pretty much set, smooth sailing, or was it more like a turns and twists, like a roller coaster?
It's definitely been turns and twists and a roller coaster. But like obviously for me, what I teach, I came here to eliminate pain and suffering. So the road couldn't be a smooth, straight path. it had to be a roller coaster path for me to be able to experience all these aspects so that I could really become the teacher that I want to be today.
Beautiful, beautiful. There's a saying that says, change your story, change your life. So when you are at your lowest, at the darkest phase of your life, how do you change your story internally to change your reality externally?
I think like there comes a time in everyone's life where, you know, you can keep doing the same thing, regardless of how much pain and suffering you're going through, or even if it's just if you haven't had a painful and suffering life, there comes a point in your life where you just think, I'm not doing this anymore. I can't take it anymore. And for me, the darkest time came for me where everything transformed for me. It was when I got a call and I was literally on the brink of taking my life. It was that severe. I couldn't cope anymore with what was happening to me. And in that moment, in that one phone call, it was somebody who was very special to me, um, completely flipped the switch in my life. And I knew right there and then that I was here I always knew I was here for a reason, but in that moment, everything changed and I never went back from that moment again.
So what happened that caused you, that took you almost on the brink of taking your life?
So I'd suffered a lot of mental, emotional, and physical abuse. So if you go back now to childhood, like our parents are obviously doing the very best that they can with the knowledge and information that they have. And most of our parents and our teachers and the people that bring us up, they're really just reliving aspects of their own painful childhood. You know, my mother's mother died when she was only a tiny child and she went blind for a year. Nobody would tell her why her mum left her. She was put in with the nuns because nobody could look after her. So the nuns abused her and they done some terrible things to my mum. And then my father, same thing. He had brothers and sisters. His mother was depressive. She lived her whole life in her bedroom, never saw his father. So both of them had their own trauma and their own ways of coping with life. So when we came along, I used to wet the bed all the time, constantly from a very young age. And obviously, my parents had no money, they were stressed, they had to go to work, and it was another responsibility that they just didn't need. So my mother used to tell me off and she used to hit me and wrap the sheets around me, but the nuns used to do that to her. So she had severe beatings for wetting the bed. She had severe
Wow.
beatings for writing with her left hand because they wanted her to write with her right hand. She was
Wow.
raped, she was abused. She had so many awful things that had happened to her, bless her. And you continue that pattern with your own children unless you have that awareness to stop. So I was brought up in a beautiful, loving home. My parents were amazing and they'd done the best that they could, but it was very strict and it was very military. And it was a case of I had to be perfect all the time, that women were really here to be subservient to a man, that we wasn't really here for any other reason. So that whole mental conditioning and lots of fear. So if I would like say walk in with a sandwich and a drink, I would have the fear of God put in me that if I was to drop it, if I was to do anything, then oh, wait and see what's going to happen, wait and see. Immediately while I walked into the lounge, I'd drop it out of fear. So everything was fear-based, fear-based. And then yeah, that's where that little program started. And then when I left home, obviously I didn't leave home till I was over 18 and we was never allowed out. So it wasn't a case of leaving home and then like bye. It was a case of like, wow, I'm an 8-year-old leaving this house and I have no life experience at all because we were never allowed to go out. So we were never allowed to have our own money, have our own friends to go out and get a bus or do anything, you know, like normal people would do. So then the first person that I met and the first relationship that I had was very abusive. And again, I would pick the person out of 20,000 lovely people. I'd pick the one that I knew that was going to be abusive and that would reject me because that's what I had sort of growing up, if you understand what I mean. So I went into very abusive relationships after that, and they were very abusive. That was I mean, just to highlight, I would be like locked into a cupboard with a baby's potty because I was too disgusting to be looked at, or I would be made to sit facing a wall. And every time I sort of went to ask if I could use the toilet or something, I'd get a boot sort of thrown at my head. And mental, physical abuse, like really
Wow.
disgusting. But every day the same things were spoken over me that I was dirty, I was disgusting, I was a piece of shit. Look at you, you're not a real woman. This is what a real woman looks like. Don't answer, don't speak. So that conditioning had been going on for years. So that was my normality. But I always had the ability to see people whole and complete. So I always saw them and I understood why they were doing the things they did. But the problem really occurred when I started projecting all that negativity back inside myself. And I really hated myself. So I was thinking, I must be a disgusting person because everybody thinks I'm disgusting. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but they must be true. So you then start reflecting back to yourself, the what people are telling you.
Wow. And how did you unprogram your mind? And how did you get yourself out of that? It's not even a hole, but a black hole.
Yeah. Well, I think like throughout the what I know now, obviously that we're spiritual beings having a very human experience and we choose to come here, we choose our lives. I didn't know any of that at the time. So I had to learn everything the very painful way. And I remember a friend of mine sent me to go and work with Dr. Richard Bandler, who had was the creator of NLP. And I was really going just to look and to observe, but I literally went there and I ran into the bathroom and I remember I phoned her up and I said, I can't go in. I was literally wetting myself because I hadn't really been around people and I didn't really, I was so afraid to be in public with people. It was crazy. Anyway, I went in and that was a great experience. I actually ended up working with them. I became an NLP practitioner and then that was the start of my journey really. But throughout the time, we're always given signs. I was always given signs that I was divinely protected, I was guided, but I just couldn't see them at the time because I didn't know that there were signs to be seen. Now it's completely different. So I learned the hard way. I was NLP practitioner, and then I trained as a life coach, a business coach. I trained in hypnotherapy. I trained as a Reiki master, emotional freedom, you name it. I tried every modality to try and heal myself but they didn't really hit the spot. Like I would feel great, but then I would always keep returning back to self, back to self. There'd be something else that kept triggering. It was like somebody was like peeling an onion, a layer of an onion, but the core was damaged and nothing would get to it. No hypnotherapy, no NLP, nothing would really get to the core of that problem. So that's when everything really started changing for me, when I really started having a spiritual awakening. And then that's when my life started transforming.
So talk to us about the first few stages of your awakening. How did that completely change the way you start seeing things? And tell us about the impact of that. You're going to, because when I went to my awakening at first, I had no idea what was going on. I was completely lost, even more lost than before.
Yes.
So how did it affect you?
Well, I think we're always awakening. We're just not
Mm.
aware that we're awakening. So,
Yes.
from a very young age, like, our feelings, our emotions are given to us as I call them our personal guidance system, like a sat nav in a car. They're telling you the minute you don't feel good, that means that somebody has told you an idea or a belief that isn't your truth, and you feel it. That's why you always feel bad and separate. But I would say my true awakening over the last sort of like 10, 15 years, that's when things really started shifting. That was probably one of the most painful things I've ever gone through. And when people say that it's, you go for the dark night of the soul and all this stuff, I can honestly, I didn't want to go through it. And I used to say to God, like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this work. Like, I'm done because I couldn't handle it because there was no one there that had really been through it in that way to guide you through it and to show you what you're going to experience. So they say, it's called the death of yourself. When I'm working with clients, I tell them that you are going to die to your former self,
Yeah, they
meaning
call it the ego death. Yeah.
yeah, every single thing that you've believed that's true, your story, your identity, it has to be stripped away. And it can be cold and it's frightening because you suddenly are left bare, you're naked. And who am I? Like, who's my identity? Everything that you've lived by and sworn by for your whole life is gone. And it's one of the most scariest things because, many years ago, I used to be a teacher and I used to work with the little ones. And I love working with the children because they just remind you of who you are. But it's like if you have a child that's going through abuse with abusive parents and you try to take them away, they want to go back because that's all they know. That's their familiarity. And to take them away from that is like death to them. So it's the same with us. It's taken away our ego and every aspect of us that's been programmed. It's like you have to go in that wilderness. So, like in the Bible, I love it because you have to die to your former self and then be reborn into your truth. And then the more then you start recalibrating and come into the alignment with the truth of who you are, that's when everything starts getting, I'd say, beautiful again. But the journey is always up and down, up and down. There is never a smooth path. So if anyone thinks they're going to go for an awakening and then suddenly become awakened and like, be like a Buddhist monk all day, it doesn't work like that because life will always keep testing you. It will always throw things towards you, even especially when you think life is perfect because it's always going to test you to see how are you going to react. Are you going to go back to the person you was, or is that person completely died?
Absolutely, absolutely. How did you start seeing people around you, family, friends, people you worked with? Did your perception of them change as we're going to the awakening? And most importantly, did their perception of you start to
Yeah.
evolve? And if yes, how?
Yeah, well, a lot of friends, or I've never really had friends in that way, but a lot of associates left because our energies weren't a match anymore. And I remember my mother, bless her, before she passed away, she used to say to me, like, I can't relate to you anymore. Can't you just be normal? Why can't you just go back to the way you used to be? Because every time she used to say to me, like, oh, she would complain about something, I would reframe it and say, but maybe it's not like that, Mum. Why don't you think like this? And most people when they're miserable they want someone to be miserable with, so that's so they don't like someone to lift them out, they want you to go in, but you can't help another person if like in their depths of grief, you have to be the person that's standing outside. But yeah, the perception my perception towards other people completely changed as well. So like I've always been a compassionate, loving person, but I had a lot more compassion for them because I really saw the pain that they were going through and I really understood the conditioned self of what it was causing them, but they didn't have the awareness to see it. And as a spiritual person on this journey, we're not allowed to actually interfere with another person's journey. If they come and ask us, we're allowed to give guidance and we can talk about it and do podcasts and write books, but we're not meant to interfere on their journey because they might not be ready for that awakening. They might not be able to hear you, and you can cause more damage than good. Like a caterpillar. If you see a caterpillar in a cocoon, it has to die. It has to go through that deep transformational death. Like, and if you try to cut that open and like, come on, fly, 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 you'll kill it. It's part of the process of what we've come here for. The pain is part of the process to help us to awaken to ourselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. So how did that awakening led you to your business and to your current self?
To where I am today.
Yes.
Yeah, so I never really wanted to do this as a business. So if I have to be honest, I didn't. I really went on this journey to repair myself. I didn't do this I had a mission to heal humanity, even though I had a dream at the age of 4 of the reason why I was here, and I was here to impact humanity. And I used to see people like now I know who they are, like God, Jesus, all these people that used to reoccur in this dream. And Moses used to hold this plaque that said, Mimi, you are here for a reason, like you're the chosen one. But I understand that was my own mind that was creating that to a degree. But now I understand, like, I used to go places and how it all started was I would go and sit in a park, and then 2 minutes later somebody would come and sit next to me. And I'd be minding my own business. Then they would start talking to me and they would say to me, wow, your energy is phenomenal. And I'd be like, oh, thank you. I didn't even know what energy was really then. And they would just start talking to me. And I'd be very naively just answering them. And then 2 minutes later, they'd be like, you changed my life forever. I've been in therapy for 10 years. Like, you've transformed my life. And I'm like, what did I say? I didn't say anything. And that was happening more and more and more again. And I went to India on holiday, and a guy I met, again, happened the same thing. We were both reading the same book, and just started talking to me. Literally a 5-minute conversation, exactly the same thing happened. And I realized, well, maybe there's something about when I'm in front of people that I don't know, because
Hmm.
like anyone that has a gift of anything, if it's natural and normal to you, you don't think it's a gift, it's just part of who you are.
That's
So
it.
yeah, that's when I started really thinking, okay, this is selfish of me, and I want to do something to help others and to relieve this pain and suffering that we have all bought into.
Absolutely. That's our gift. And as I always like to say, all the crap that you go through, these are your greatest gifts because your crap literally is your gift. In a more PC way, your message, your message.
Mm.
We all go through our fair share of pain, trauma, abuse, tragedy, betrayal, whatever you want to call it, sickness. Sure, it's very painful when you go through that, but guess what? That becomes your story. Then
It
your
does.
story becomes your gift. And ultimately, our gifts become our duty and responsibilities. And the last thing we need to do with them is to be greedy with them, because
Yeah.
ultimately, that's why we come here for. First, to better ourselves, to overcome whatever challenge life throws at us. And yes, life is a school, but bettering ourselves is only 5% of what we are here for. The 95%, taking those lessons, those wisdoms, those gifts, and sharing with us. First, embrace them loud and proud, and then share them even louder and prouder
Yeah.
with those around us, because ultimately we all need to uplift each other.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you can't do that until you've
Wow.
done the work on yourself as well. Like
Absolutely.
you know, I really believe that our life purpose is to be ourselves and to find ourselves and to be our true, authentic selves. Because when you're whole and complete, when you realize that you are love, when you realize that you are abundant, when you realize that you are perfect health, then you don't need to keep looking externally for these things. So every single thing is about coming back to ourselves, because every single thing we're seeking is for the feeling to feel good. It's like when you meet that man or you meet that woman, they give you a feeling, and it's like, oh my God, I can't wait to see them. I can't wait to be with them. But really, they're giving you the feeling that's inside your body. So you don't actually need them to have that feeling. You don't need somebody to give you medication or to give you something. Like, if you think about it, every single thing in life is a placebo. It's all a permission slip, regardless if that is, I'm not going to go on about chemotherapy, but I've mentioned it. So chemotherapy, medication, if that's a four-leaf clover, if that's a crystal, if whatever ritual you have, everything is just a permission slip that you're giving to yourself to allow that treatment to work for you. Really, we don't need anything at all, because we have the power and the ability just to be able to heal and to realign ourselves of everything. And it can happen instantaneously. People say it takes 90 days, it takes years to reprogram. It doesn't. Full alignment with your truth, you can have an instantaneous change. Instantaneous, because every single moment you are a new person. Every single moment. And you only carry the past with you, you carry the beliefs with you to keep reinforcing your own belief mechanism. But if
Yeah.
you changed it in that moment, you're a new person. People say to me, I was 10 years bulimic. So when I left some abusive relationships, my normality was pain and suffering. So
Mm,
I started being bulimic. The food, I'd maybe have 50,000 calories a day. So the food made me feel good. I was like, feels good, feels good. But then when I made myself sick 5 times a day, I would say the words, oh, you're dirty, you're disgusting, you're filthy, because the two went hand in hand. Feel good, punish yourself, feel good. But then the body, like any addiction, if that's smoking, drinking, alcohol, sex, whatever it is, becomes addicted to needing those chemicals. It needs
yeah.
that feeling. So people are trying to change with their mind. It's not your mind that needs to change, it's your body that's addicted to those chemicals and needing that substance within yourself. But when I found out, again, the truth of who I was, and when I read in the, I think it was a sermon or the Bible at the time, that creation is complete. So that means creation is complete. We're not complete. That means that instant healing can happen. That means that instant wealth can be whatever it is. It's you're just the person that's getting in the way to blocking it all. And when I read that, and I literally, it took me a little bit of time. but I said the words that resonated with myself and what I believe to be true. So I said, like, I command and declare with the power that's given within me that believe me, leave my body now. And I gave thanks. Thank you, Father, it is done. I'd say within 36 hours, believe me, had left my body for it completely gone. Every single, I wasn't that person anymore, completely transformed and went. 2 weeks later, it came back because I met somebody who triggered me, who like, rang the bell. All the programs that were still resonating within me, a lot of the sexual abuse and things all came back in that instant. Went straight to the shops, bought all the food, came home, started eating, being sick, eating, being sick, tried the same thing over and over again, and it wouldn't work. And I was like, well, why did it work the first time and it didn't work the second time? And that's when I realized that the first time I wanted it to happen because I believed that I was pure and that I deserved a fantastic life. The second time I felt like a worthless piece of shit, excuse the language, but so it didn't work. But then I also realized another very powerful thing. Not one technique will work the same time as it did the second time because I allowed that technique to work for me. So the second time it might not work for me. So what would work for me? So the second time was more about, I still said the same things, but I started loving myself. I started really hugging myself and forgiving myself and telling myself that I was safe and that I deserved the best life, hugging me, kissing me. And that transformed my life. And that, believe me, left and
Yeah.
it never came back. So nothing, that's why I always say, like, a tablet might work for one person, it might not work for another. Someone says, oh, I've got the perfect solution, the perfect formula. No, the only formula is you. You are the answer, the problem, and the solution to everything in life, and nothing external is ever going to change that.
Absolutely. Very well said. I couldn't agree more with that. For me, for example, my story 6 years ago was in a very dark spot, even broke. I was living on $20 a week in Hong Kong. And yet, it was some of the happiest moment of my life. How is that possible?
Yeah,
Because society tells us you need money to be happy. Sure, we all need money to survive, but ultimately, the true happiness comes from within,
yeah,
and we have access to all the information. For example, Wi-Fi is all around us, but we don't see it. You just need to know the right network and the right password.
yes.
And in the same vein, the Akasha is all around us. We don't see it. We just need to connect with it. How do you connect with it? By simply, how do you connect to the higher self? Whether it's through meditation, prayer, incantation, whatever. For me, it's through water because I have a deep connection with water. Maybe in a past life, I was a dolphin. I take long showers. I literally pray and count my blessings for half an hour under the shower. Or when I'm KL, like here, I go to the beautiful swimming pool. Or when I'm in Vietnam by the beach, I just sit there, listen to the water, to the waves, and say, "Universe, inspire me." You
Yeah.
just need to connect with that universal, endless wisdom of the Akasha, and you get all the information.
100%, most definitely. And I always say to people as well, like, there is no way, like there are tools and we don't need the tools, but there are tools like breath work to slow your breathing down, to be in this present moment, because the present moment is all that really exists. So there are tools that we can utilize, affirmations and bits and pieces. But really, like with you, I can shut myself down anywhere in any place and I'm in a completely different reality. But like you said, like someone came to me a while ago and they said I was reading a book and I've been meditating for like 2 years. I still can't, nothing has changed, nothing has happened. I'm like, well, why are you meditating then? Meditation doesn't work for you. One of my clients, he loves to ride his bike. He rides his bike and he goes riding for hours, and that's his meditation.
But
Another one like you, like swimming. Somebody might like climbing the mountains.
yeah,
You can find your inspiration and your connection anywhere, but it's your connection. So don't allow anyone to say you have to do this and you have to do that. Everyone that's teaching, they're teaching things that might work for them. Doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And all we're sharing is try this, this could work. Try this could work. But you will find your way. Every single person does.
find your outlet, find your connection, and then,
Okay.
of course, try as many as you can. But ultimately, it will be one that will work for you. And also, as you mentioned,
Yeah.
something might work for you today, but not tomorrow, because
Yes.
tomorrow you're a different person.
100%. We change every 24 hours. And that's
Every
what
second, just like the river, a river is never the same because every second it changes. The flow of water is
exactly.
different.
Exactly. And people will say to me, but then I've been an alcoholic for 20 years. But I said, but you're choosing to be an alcoholic to a degree. Because if you think about it, and I'm not saying anything against any organizations, but
Mhm.
I know a man that went to AA and he was like, I am an alcoholic. I am, you're not. You're not an alcoholic. You used to drink. That's completely different to saying, because all you're doing is stating to the universe, I'm an alcoholic. I'm a depressive. I'm in this. You're not. The whole truth of you is that you're whole and complete. The labels that have been put on you, the seeds that have been planted in your mind, they're not your truth. So every second, like you said, you only keep repeating the past because you keep thinking about the past. But this point of time, right here, right now, this is a new moment. You're a new person. What you decide to filter in your mind, what you decide to say out your mouth, what you decide to see out of your eyes, that's your choice. God gave us choice, and we have a choice every minute to make a decision, to make a declaration that from this moment on, I'm changing. And yes, it's going to be hard and it's not going to be easy. And most people want now, we live in a throwaway society where we want it immediately. But to go to the gym, to get a six pack, you got to do the work. I get up every morning at 5:30. I'm in my gym. Every single day, I meditate. I shut myself down. I'm one with God. I set my intention of who I want to be for the day. But that takes discipline, that takes work. And if you want change, then you have to align with it. But if you don't, then just carry on moaning and living your life the way you want to. But you've only got yourself to look at and you've only got yourself to blame. Because I always say circumstances do not matter. They make no difference. I don't care if somebody's locked up in jail. I don't care if you're going through the worst problems in your life. The circumstances are just the circumstances. It's your state of being that matters. And your state of being can take you anywhere once you learn it to program and to hone in on that new reality that you want. It will become part of your reality.
Billion percent. Just like the saying, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it. The
100%.
same two people can have the same. Actually, in one of Tony Robbins' book, shared example of two people, both of them suffering horrible life-altering accidents, becoming paraplegic. One person was just waiting to die. Life was finished for him. The other person took that as an amazing opportunity to change the world, and that person went on to create all the facilities we see for handicapped people.
Yeah.
So it's what you make of it, not what
Yeah.
happens to you.
Definitely. And also your level of belief. Like you really can. And I know we all have our own blockages and not everybody wants to like do some life-changing alterations. But really, I've realized and I've done it to myself. And that's why I only teach and preach about things that I've done myself, because I don't think that anyone can tell someone to do something they haven't done. But I know that my body completely healed itself. It re-altered itself. It changed. My face changed. Everything changed about me. Because when I was in the depths of bulimia, all my teeth fell out. I looked really old. I was haggard. My
Wow.
skin. I didn't look like I did now. But the happier I got, the more I loved myself. It was like Nanny McPhee with all the warts on her face. It's a film if people don't know it. Every time she'd done a good deed, or every time she completed part of her mission, the warts would fall off her face. When I look back, people send me photos of me like, wow, look at you 20, 30 years ago. I'm 62 in January. And
What?
I really believe that the more you keep walking towards your true self, your love, the happiness, it starts radiating out of you. And all I'd say to people as well, this is so important. Like, don't be. Look at Richard Bandler. He run the 3 minute race, whatever it was, and as soon as he done it, everybody else done it. Somebody else realized that you can grow back your own teeth. Other people started doing it. People realized that you could actually alter the face shape. You could change your body shape just by using your mind and imagination. I worked with people that were run over by buses, trucks, that said they would never walk again. Every vertebrae was broken in their body. 3 months later, they've walked out of the hospital, and the doctors say that's a miracle. No, my friend, the miracle is you, and it's what you believe and what you can implant in your mind, and then you can put that implementation. But if you don't believe it, then it won't happen for you. So it's whatever you believe, accept, and surrender to will become your outcome.
That's it. Just like the saying, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you cannot do, either way, both way, you're right.
100%. Totally true. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Tell us, let's move on. Tell us about your business. How are you making the world a better place around you and around the world?
Well, like I said, for me, I just want to be a living embodiment of what I teach and what I preach because I'm not here, like I said, the world is perfect, and people say, no, it's not. You're not looking at what's happening in the world. The world is perfect. People aren't. We live in a world that people are fearful, so they're very selfish because they're looking for themselves. Their money is all going to one person because and that's why there's so much poverty and stuff in the world. But if you think about it, if every single person just worked on themselves, took full responsibility for you, then the world wouldn't be in the way it is. So you wouldn't have deprivation and all this stuff happening. You wouldn't be able to walk past a homeless person that's got no food when you're living as a multi-millionaire. You'd want to share that and to help because you would understand that actually every single person is you. We are the creators of this reality, and everyone is just a mirror of who we are. So when you're kicking somebody out, and when you're not really looking at them as part of yourself, there's actually aspects of yourself that's still not whole and complete because you are me, I am them. We are all one. There is no separation. So for me, I want to teach and be that living embodiment. So when people say, "Why are you so happy? Why do you look so great? Why does your life seem to work?" Then I can do that. So for me now, my business is really just to get out on different platforms to try and speak to a larger audience and just to inspire and to awaken and to put a spark back into people that have had that spark taken away from them.
Beautiful. And what are the people that you can help at the highest level?
Anybody. So literally, like anybody is anyone that is receptive to want to change. You can't change anyone if they don't want to change, but you can add that spark as well. So there's a lot of things like, if you see somebody whole and complete, I don't care who they are, even if he was working with one of the worst murderers or the worst person that done the worst things in this world, if you hold the intention while they're in front of you and you only see like Michelangelo, the true beauty inside. They have to rise themselves to meet your expectations. But if you see them as, oh my God, how could you do these disgusting things? And your energy is tainted in that way, then that's how they're going to perceive, and you'll get that expectation back. So our job is really to cleanse ourselves, to come from the highest vibration, to illuminate the love, because there is only one force in this world, and that is love. And every single one of us within is that embodiment of love. So how can we break away all that conditioning away from people so that they can return back to the love that they are? And that's through compassion, that's through love, that's through understanding. Mother Teresa used to say, I will never attend an anti-war rally, but give me a rally or a peace rally, I'll be there, because she knew the power of love. It can transform anything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Love is the most powerful force in the universe,
It
you
is,
know,
most
and
definitely.
beautiful. Share with us an example of the most remarkable transformation you've seen with one of your clients.
Oh, there's been a few. So I've been honored. Like I class it as an absolute honor. From people that have been told that they can't have babies to there's a few little memes running around now, not the boys, to somebody who was so severely depressed, never had any love from anyone in his life. He was only a young kid. And I didn't work with him for money. I worked with him just because I wanted to give him some form of that. There is people here for you. Do you know what I mean? There are people that love you. And I remember that he had a terrible experience with his parents, and he walked into the river, into the water, and he went right underneath the water just to take his life. And he said all he could hear was my voice and the love that I had for him. And he couldn't understand that how somebody who had never really knew him could love him that deeply when his own parents could reject him. And he came out and transformed his life after that. I'd say the greatest one, not greatest, there is no greatest, but the one that really impacted me the most and really showed me the level of how transformation can be instant was I was called to somebody's home. And like I say, I don't usually interfere in people's timelines when they haven't asked me themselves. But it was a lady who had a lot of children, who was literally tried to commit suicide quite a few times, and she couldn't cope with things that had happened to her. She'd been through a terrible experience as a child, really, really bad. And that had all been locked away, but something had happened to open up that Pandora's box, and she couldn't cope with all the stuff that had come up. I was asked to go because obviously her children. I remember I went to the house. I said to her, she wouldn't open the door. So I just opened up her letterbox and said, look, God has sent me here with a message for you. If you want it, I'll come and give it to you. If you don't, then I send you all the blessings and love in the world. 2 minutes later, it was like, I went in. We literally just sat down. I remember sitting at her kitchen table for a while. Then we both sat on the floor, and she was telling me some of the horrific things that had happened to her, which were horrific. And in that moment, there was something that just came through me. Like, I can feel it now, like my body starts shaking. But I started having this download, and it was the specific words that I was led to tell her. And they were so profound about what had happened to her and why it had happened, that in that instant, she completely transformed. Like everything had gone, that horrific past, everything. I'm not saying the past doesn't just go away, but you can't feel it and see it in that way anymore because you're not the same person. And that to me was the most unbelievable, beautiful experience I think I've ever had. She went on to become a life coach, and she went on to live the most phenomenal life. We still
Wow.
speak to this day. And it just shows you that your truth, your soul, your heart will awaken and resonate with the truth of who you are. And you can have an instant change. You know, it depends again on how open and willing you are to let go of that pain. Because if you think about it, we've been so conditioned that it can't be easy. To live a great life, you have to go through the pain and suffering. It has to be hard. To earn money, it has to be hard. Everything has to be hard, and you have to go through that painful journey. But it really doesn't have to be also. It's about surrendering. When you can surrender, when you can let go, you can return back to your true self.
Totally. Love that. Love that. Oh, wow. Changing someone's life is the greatest gift we can do to someone because then that person goes on and inspires and changes another life and so on and so forth.
Yeah. And
That's
as
a,
you, and I've realized as well, sorry to interrupt, but as you heal another and help another find their truth, you're also healing aspects of your own soul as well. And it's like the Rubik cube, the pieces of the puzzle come together even more powerful.
because we're all drops of the same ocean. If you help
Exactly.
one person, you help everybody. If you kill one, you kill all.
Yeah, you do. 100%.
Seriously,
Yes.
yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Now, let's start wrapping things up. To finish, I'd like to ask you another series of rapid fire questions. This one on advices. Ready?
Okay. Advices. Okay.
Yes. What's been the best piece of advice you received so far?
The best piece of advice. I think that would be to know thyself, to
Beautiful.
really understand and know thyself. That sounds simplistic, but that's really powerful.
Indeed. And what has been the worst piece of advice?
The worst piece of advice is that really the limitations, that you are a woman, that you're here to be
Mm,
subservient, that you are here to keep your mouth shut and to do nothing, just to be subservient to others. That was the worst piece of advice.
indeed. Imagine that you're blessed with a time machine. You can go back in time and sit face to face with an 18-year-old Mimi.
Yeah.
Knowing all that you know now, what's a number one piece of advice you would give to her?
I would say the number one piece of advice I would say to her is look in the mirror and know your worth. Really know your
Mm,
worth, to love yourself at your core, to know that you're whole and complete and that you deserve the very best of every single thing in life. And there is nothing that you cannot be, do, or have. Remember that. So I think that would be my foundational gift to her.
absolutely, absolutely. Do you have your own podcast?
No, not yet, but I'm starting one so that I have.
Okay. What's the main reason that you haven't done it so far?
I think again, I was very judgment. I've just started a YouTube channel. There's some old bits and some new bits that are going to be going on there. But I was very critical about myself, very critical. Again, like everything had to be perfection. I didn't like the way I looked. I didn't like the way I came across. So like, I know I used to take a photograph, I would have to take 1,000 of them and then go through them, and oh, it was tiring. And I just wasn't ready. And I felt like the universe and God was saying, you have a lot more work to do on yourself at this moment. And there was other things that I was led to do. So yeah, I'm ready for it now, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And as I mentioned, I have my November class of the challenge next week. I'm going to show you how to not only launch a podcast, but how to leverage your podcast and YouTube channel to get clients and leads, even if you're starting with no audience in as little as 30 days. So
I'm looking forward to it.
let's project in the future. And a year from now, you have your very successful, profitable podcast. And today, you're interviewing the most special person in the world, and that is yourself. What's the first question you want to ask yourself?
Oh, first question I'd ask myself is, oh gosh, that's thrown me. The first question I would ask myself is, what do you define as happiness to you? I would say,
Mm,
I think so. I'd have to think about that one a little bit, but yeah, what do you define happiness? What is happiness to you? Because happiness is, like you said at the very beginning, we're all chasing happiness. We're all
yes.
chasing. We've been so programmed that, especially for men, I feel so sorry for men. If you don't have X amount of millions and billions, and speaking to people even last week, they've made millions and millions, billions of pounds. They have every supercar you could think of. They have the girls, they have everything, and they're so broken and so depressed. They hate their lives that they're on cocaine, heroin, drinking, everything, because that's not what we have. We've been sold a lie, basically. Like you said, happiness is an inside job. And we're here to have an abundant life, but an abundant life and money really means to be able to do the things that you want to do in that moment. So if you've got enough today to fly off to somewhere and to do these things, that's what an abundant life looks like. But we think we have to hoard and keep and out of fear and keep more money in the bank and stuff. And yeah, of course, we live in this world, but if you know that it's an ever flowing, energetic universe, more comes. It's not restricted. So yeah, it's about, like, really, I'd say to anyone, what is true happiness to you, and what are you really chasing in life?
And at this stage in your life, what is true happiness to you, Mimi?
True happiness to me is just living my true authentic self, like really listening to my soul. Because for many years I didn't, and I've been a people pleaser. I've literally done things more for other people. And I've really now, this is about me. This next chapter is about me. Like I said, my sons are married, they're grown up, they have an amazing family, they're beautiful lives, and I'm so proud of them all. But now I want to really do what's in my heart, not what someone
Mm,
tells me has to be done. And that's another thing, like, we work with marketeers and all these people that they, change you. No one will get you. No one will understand you. No, I'm not doing any of that anymore. I'm speaking my way. I'm speaking my truth, and I'm living my life to the best ability. So for me, it's about being the greatest version that I can be to my children, my grandchildren, and to humanity.
beautiful. Love that. If someone wants to connect with you, what's the best way to do so?
So website is www.mimibland.london, Instagram, mimibland.london, LinkedIn, Mimi Bland. You literally just have to put Mimi Bland, Mimi Bland, into Google or any Safari, and I'll come up somewhere. So
Absolutely. Love that. Listen, Mimi, absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you for sharing your story, your beautiful story, opening up your heart and all that. And I salute you. You're a true leader with a heart. Keep shining your light. Keep blessing the world, your presence, your impact, your smile, your energy. And I gotta say, you mentioned you're 62, but you don't look a day over 33.
I love
And
you.
that's not a compliment, that's an observation.
You've
Seriously.
literally become my bestest friend in the world.
Seriously, what's the secret? That's
Well,
amazing. But anyways, stay warm, stay safe. God bless you. Talk to you very soon. And have a fantabulous rest of your day. Take care.
thank you. God bless you. God bless everyone.
Very
Thank
welcome.
you.
Cheers.